Hey guys, welcome to our fourth Wednesday of the month where we talk about business entrepreneurship and real estate investing. Beside me, I have Jason Lund out of Wisconsin. We'll be talking about him in a little bit because he's pretty awesome. But just for those of you folks that do not know who I am, my name is Jennifer Green or Jen Green. I'm from Property House. We are out of the Twin Cities Metro in Minnesota. We're a real estate investment firm that helps folks out of more or less sticky situations. When it comes to real estate, we always provide three different solutions, 2 to 3 solutions for folks to choose which one works best for them to help them as best as we can. So my intern's going to be posting information about us and about Jason as we go through the live. But today, like I said, I have Jason sitting next to me. So hi, Jason, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. So Jason is a coach, a mentor. He's out of Wisconsin, the Appleton region. He's part owner of the Wisco RIA there. He also has wholesaled and flipped about 300 plus properties or so in the Wisconsin area. And then he also has done done many short sale negotiations on a seller's behalf as well, which is something that, that we do as well. Not only has, Jason been a coach and mentor, but someone that I definitely look up to. He's got a really, really sweet process of, how he runs his business and how he meets with sellers on appointments. And I think it's really, really important for us to talk about this and dive into it today, because to be honest, I think there's many people who don't do the seller appointment correctly, more or less, right? Or aren't prepared or don't, say the things that we need to say in order to be able to help people as best as we can. And so we're really going to dive into that today. I'm really looking forward to it. If you guys have questions along this live, please feel free to post them online. We are going to be looking at this. Obviously I can see the questions if I can pull it up here. Well, if anything, I'll have my intern. For some reason, I can't see it. But if you guys do have questions, post them here. Like I said, we'll get to them. Thanks for joining us. And so we will get started. So Jason, talk to me right now. I know a lot of things when I look around on your website, which is doyouneedtosellfast.com, right?
Yep.
I have found that you really run things on more or less a code of ethics, which I think is something that's really important and something that people would gravitate towards, because in some spheres, people who invest in real estate don't necessarily have the best reputation, and for good reason, right? So
Yep.
Talk to me about your 12-point code of ethics that that your company is based upon.
Yeah, our number one thing is transparency. We are 100% transparent from our first initial phone call to the closing. There's nothing that we are hiding from our homeowners. We want to make sure that they're well informed throughout the entire process, so they don't feel like they're being taken advantage of, or something's going sideways and they don't have anybody there to help them. We have issues that pop up, and if we have to pull our attorneys and stuff like that involved, or get our attorneys involved, then we do. But that's all part of the transparency side of it, where we looked at a lot of other investment firms that were out there, and the process that they were doing was like wholesaling, and we looked at that and said, hey, these people are going out to these people's homes. They're not telling them, they're lying to them. They're saying, hey, we're gonna come back with our contractors, and they weren't coming back with their contractors. They were coming back with other investors. Where for us, if it's something that we're gonna wholesale, we just straight up tell them, hey, this deal does not work for us, but I'm gonna bring a couple friends over that are also in this business, and they're gonna run through your house, and they're gonna be able to help you just like we are. And these people are vetted, and they're not gonna mess, screw anything up, or they're gonna operate with the same integrity that we do. So it really helps out the situation, and it makes it a lot more clear for the homeowner, if we are going to wholesale it, that we walk into the situation and then that they know from day one what is going to happen, and they know that eventually that we're going to be out of that situation, and they know that they're going to be connected with somebody else.
Right. Yeah, because I think a lot of the times, what I've seen, and I've kind of had to talk to sellers about, is sometimes you may end up getting a number that seems too good to be true. And it's more or less because somebody's trying to get that house under contract just to get the house. And then they'll kind of whittle that number down, later when they find, say, oh, I have to come through with my contractor. And that's like, ooh, geez, I missed X, Y, and Z. When,
Yep.
really your number is the right number. Have you felt like that's been happening by you as well?
Yes, all the time. I tell them, on my seller appointments that I am a professional home buyer. I've been buying houses since 2010. There's no reason why I need to come back with a contractor. There's no reason why I need to come back and reevaluate the house. There's no reason for it. I'm here right now. I've looked at the house. If there's something I'm concerned of, I would have called one of my contractors right then and there and said, hey, I need you to look at this thing quick for me. Or I do a lot of stuff with Facebook live videos.
Right.
So I'll jump on there with like our basement guy, and I know exactly what to do, and I'll point some stuff out to him, and I'll say, hey, is this something that's going to cost me 20 grand, or is this something that I'm going to be okay with? And we finalize everything right then and there on our first appointment. We never come back for a second time. And on our first appointment, we always give our highest and best. So then we don't leave any room for negotiating. If they come back and they say, hey, can you go up 2 grand? We say, hey, I'm really sorry. When I came out, like I said, we're a professional home buying company. I gave you the number that you needed, or the number that I felt was best to fit the situation.
Right.
And, there's nothing more I can do. But on the same side is we work with a lot of our homeowners, and, if the house is full of stuff, take what you want, leave the rest. If they need help with moving, we do that. If they need help with down payments or anything like that on apartments, we do that. And typically we do that where a lot of investors run that in their numbers and they say, well, hey, it's going to cost me 2 grand to put these people in an apartment. We look at it as we say, hey, no, our number is still 70. We're just going to do this on top because, for us, we want to have that referral. I know it's costing me money and everything else, but somebody else would have came in and said, well, we're going to offer you 68 then, because they would have known that, it's going to cost them 2 grand, where we just add it on top. And I just pay out of pocket for it.
Sure.
But it really helps us out a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say, in terms of doing that, which is something that a lot of people obviously don't do. Have you received a lot of referrals based upon you being able to help folks that way?
Yes. You wouldn't, it's crazy because, I'm glad we're talking about this, because when I go on seller appointments and other investors are there, these people are not being treated like actual people. They're being treated as, hey, this is going to be the fastest way I can make 10 grand or 20 grand or 30 grand. And I just need to hurry up and get this thing through and get this thing done and sell it to another investor or flip it really quick or whatever. Nobody ever spends time and focuses on what the seller's actual problems are. Because yes, they're in a situation they need to sell, but what else is going on in their life? Are they handicapped? Can they move? Can they not move? Are you listening? You know what I mean? We spend time, our average seller appointment is about an hour and a half to about an hour and 45 minutes. Unless they're come in and they're just like, hey, we want a number. Like in some probate situations, they come in and they just say, hey, we want a number in 15 minutes to just get out of here because we have other people coming. Then I can't spend that time with them. But if we can spend the time with them, like I said, about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, and then we listen to, like I said, all of their needs. Do they need help with moving? Do they need help with cleaning? Do they need help with, anything else,
Yeah, I just had one of those on Saturday where it was like 10 people came through and nobody necessarily took the time to talk to the person to actually find out that there was still a mortgage on the house. So a cash offer wasn't going to work because of what the mortgage was at. And so I was like, okay, let's prepare 2 or 3 other options based upon, what that number is. And like you said, I think people end up coming through so quickly and just look at it as, oh, here's another person, another appointment. You just kind of shuffle through it. And that's not what it's about, right? It's about listening to their needs, like you said, and creating that solution that, makes sense for everybody, more or less.
Yep, exactly. It is creating that situation or the solution to what their problem is, because like I said, there is so much more that's behind these situations. And the same thing with the cash offer. I can tell you right now, a lot of people, cash does not even make a difference. It's the solution that you put them in. It doesn't matter. Right. They'll give you the house for free if you can help them get to the next stage of their life.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, when it comes to that, when it comes to that appointment, then obviously there seems to be, you probably prepare quite a bit, before you go to the appointment, I assume, right? I mean, like we all
Yes.
should, because it really
Yep.
does mean something. So what do you think is the best thing that you can do to like either prepare or what you should bring, in order to be able to have that hour and 45-minute appointment where you can provide that solution for them and they sign with you?
Yep. Well, there's a couple different things. One of our big things that we use is a credibility kit. And excuse me.
Can you explain what that is?
Yeah, within our credibility kit, it explains our entire process. It's got, like how we run our numbers, what those numbers look like. We have information in there from our title company that's going to give all the title company's information in there. It's going to give a breakdown of closing costs, any other additional costs that there are, recording fees. It's all there. So like I said, it's transparent. So if somebody opens up our book, they can literally see, how we do our offers, what all the fees and stuff like that are. It's got past clients that are in there from testimonials, so they can see what it is. I think what else is in there? Our Wisconsin offer to purchase is in there. And we have two offers that are in that form. We have a one-page one that we don't really like to use. And then we have our Wisconsin offer that's 9 pages. And the reason why we have the 1 page in there, the 9 page sometimes is too much for somebody. Because it's got a lot of definitions and stuff like that in there. So then that's when we use our 1 page offer. But I always try and tell our clientele too, that if they have somebody else coming in with a 1 page offer, to stand kind of clear from it. Just because usually if somebody's creating a 1 page offer and sending it out, it's very one-sided, and it's usually one-sided towards the investor. Where you have a situation where they say, hey, I'm going to buy your house for $100 grand. And they call you back in 2 weeks and say, hey, I didn't put any earnest money down and I no longer want to buy your house. And then these people are absolutely devastated because they needed to sell this house and now they didn't. So I try and steer people clear of the 1 page offer, but I do have it in there because, like I said, it can be that 9 page one can be overwhelming for some people. So that's why we use it.
Now, let me ask you something kind of as like a side note. When I think about Earnest Money, what is your take on Earnest Money?
My take on Earnest Money is I really don't like to put earnest money down. And the only reason why is because usually most of our transactions happen very quick. So like we have a 14-day guarantee. Like if somebody wants to close in 14 days, we're going to close it in 14 days. And if I don't close it in 14 days, then I end up having to pay $100 per day to them that I don't close. So usually when that happens, and we build enough rapport with these people that when we say, hey, we're not going to put any earnest money down, they don't care. They're just like, just get me where I need to be, and I don't care what you do. But my typical thing is like if we're buying off the MLS, anything under 100 grand, we put $500 down, and anything over 100 grand, we put $1,000 down. Obviously, as we go up, the more we put down.
And guys, for those of you who are watching, I was able to get back onto my page where I can see comments and questions. So if you do have any questions that you want to ask, please post them in the comments, and we'll get to them, and I'll see them, and so we can post those. So here's another thing. So I mean, obviously it's making it sound like, gosh, every appointment you go on, you end up signing a contract and woo, that's really great. But obviously we know that's not the case. I mean, we have to go on many appointments in order to make, to find, those gems, I guess, of those people that we can help. So I know one of the biggest things too, I hear from, other people being on appointments is, gosh, they said no because of X, they said no because of this. I'm not really sure how to respond to these things because I really want to help them, but I don't know what what is the best thing that I can do to overcome these objections. So help me with some of those. What are some of the biggest objections that you see? And then what are some of the responses that you've, been able to help folks to make them feel comfortable with the transaction?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the seller appointment, the biggest thing, I'll jump into that in a second, but the biggest thing is when you go on these seller appointments, if you're not educating the sellers, you're going to have objections galore because they're going to say, Well, I don't know about this. I've never heard of that title company. You're not going to put any earnest money down. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. So if you walk into the appointment and if I explain it to you and I say, hey, Jen, this is exactly what is going to happen. I'm going to, I just met you. I'm going to walk through your house and I explain the entire process. I'm going to walk through your house. I'm going to look at this. I am a licensed contractor in the state of Wisconsin. So it's easy for me because I can pull up my license card and I can just say, hey, when I'm looking at the roof, when I give you a number, my number's right on. So
Yeah.
I'm not guessing, I'm not doing anything there. But it's honestly, any objection that you have is just because you didn't educate the seller when you should have. It's going in and just saying, hey, I like this place. I'll offer you 100 grand. They're like, are you serious? Like, how did you come up with that number? We use a bunch of the realtor apps that are in our local market, and we use them on our phone. So like when I'm talking to a seller about comps and why I'm coming up with this back end number, and then I'm showing them my entire formula, how it all works, going backwards to where my offer is. So I'm looking at it, I'm just like, hey, the house next door sold for 100 grand. The house 2 doors down sold for 100 grand. We're looking at the pictures, a pretty similar house, right? Yep. So we're involving them in the entire process of it. And then when I turn around and I say, hey, Jen, it looks like the back end number on your house is 100 grand. Well, we can pay up to 70% minus repairs on that house. They can automatically start calculating it, and they already kind of know where our number is going to be because we've educated them out through the entire process. So when we're walking through the house, like we talk to them, you say, hey, what do you think of this roof? It's got a big hole in it. It's obviously got to be replaced, right? Yeah. Okay, well, what have you guys had any quotes on it? We ask them questions like that. And they'll say, sometimes they'll say yes, and sometimes they'll say no, that just happened the other day, and that's why I want to sell it.
Yeah.
So it's honestly, you can go through a whole appointment and have no objections on anything, if just as long as you're educating that person. So if you're getting a lot of objections, you're not explaining it to people, and people, like I said, I mean, you don't go buy a car and walk in the dealership and say, hey, I'm going to take this one and not know what that car does. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You get in it, you drive it, you ask them about the warranty. You know what I mean? The salespeople are there supposed to be educating you on why you should buy this car or buy that product. So we just have to do the same thing.
Yeah. And I completely agree with that. Right. Because you're already combating those common objections before they even come up, more or less is what it comes down to, is because you know what they are, and you already have an answer to calm those nerves, more or less. Not obviously, pull the wool over anybody's eyes, but it's like, I mean, a lot of the times what ends up happening, what I see, and I don't know if you see this or not, but some of those TV shows, that are like, oh, I can fix this house for $10,000. And it's like, well, why is your number 50 when they did it on the show for 10? Right. Yep. I mean, it's kind of ruined it a little bit. Have you found anybody saying those types of things?
We have, but we also have a really good relationship too with Home Depot. Yeah. So we get a lot of stuff from corporate just because of what we buy for our rehabs, but I can literally break numbers down right there on my phone and show them what actual product stuff costs. And like I said, it all kind of goes back to the education part of it. So I can show them what actual costs are, even with my discounts at Home Depot. And then, like I said, I'm a licensed contractor, so I can turn around and say, this is what we make per hour for us to go do this. This is what the material costs are. So it's easy to break that stuff down.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we kind of touched upon this a little bit too, but I think really when we approach, seller appointments, a lot of the times I feel like people take this, like, I'm the expert and you don't know anything. And that's not, obviously, it's their home, they've lived there or inherited or whatever, whatever the situation is. I feel like sometimes I see a lot of folks telling people what they need versus listening to what they need. And it seems like you've really built your appointments on listening to what the needs are and then providing the solution from that. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, like I said, that's the only way to do it. And, people ask us how we, like you're in the market right now, and, how can we consistently buy houses every single week, get multiple contracts every single week? And it's literally because of that. And they're like, I've gone on 15 seller appointments and I don't even have one contract. you went on 15 and you got, 6 or 7 contracts. How is this happening? And it's exactly like what I said, is you're not educating the people you're going to see. You're going into it, you're looking at it as a dollar sign instead of looking at it as helping people.
Absolutely. I mean, you just kind of hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Really is what it comes down to, right?
Yeah.
Maybe part of the reason why some folks who are investing get a bad name, because they just only do see dollar signs first versus really helping somebody out of a bad situation, more or less.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, this is not a real estate business. This is a helping people business, and we do real estate on the side. And the only way that we can do real estate on the side is if we take care of our main focuses within, that's our clientele.
Perfectly said. We're kind of actually at our time. This went by really fast today, but do you have any parting words for folks, that are watching? Any kind of last minute, thoughts for folks for seller appointments?
Yep. Yeah. So the big thing with your seller appointments is you guys have to, I know this may sound weird, but you have to go out and you have to network. You have to network with other investors. You have to network with attorneys. You have to network with title companies. You have to do this stuff because that education part that I told you, the only way you're going to get that education and be able to talk to a homeowner and be able to help them is by networking and meeting these people. Even if you're at a seller appointment and if I'm there and I have a question on something with title, I don't just try and make something up. I don't Google it. I don't do anything. I get the title company on the phone and I say, hey, I'm here with Jen and this is the situation that we're in. Can you help me through this? I call my attorney. Hey, I'm here with Jen. Can you help me through this? I bring all these different people in. And like I said, even with other investors, even if I have to give them a part of the deal, we're still helping people. We're still getting the deal done. We're still getting paid at the end of the road. But you have to network with people in order to build up this education. So go to your local RIAs, go to your local meetup groups, start a meetup group. A lot of people are too afraid to do that. But even if you start a meetup group and you just say, hey, like I know you're in the Twin Cities, if you're on the south side of the Twin Cities, you could say, hey, I'm on the south side of the Twin Cities real estate investors meetup, and you meet every other week for coffee. People will show up. You will build your network. And like I said, you'll be able to kill these deals.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Jason. I appreciate it. This was definitely a knowledge dump. That's what I said what was coming. And I think we, very well accomplished that. So thank you so much for joining us. That was really great. I'm going to have Jason's information posted also here in the comments of a way to get a hold of him. I assume you can probably just contact you directly on Facebook, on Messenger. And then we'll also have Jason's website on here as well if you guys want to take a look and see what he's doing, be able to help. I know, because you're also outside of Wisconsin too, aren't you? You're outside of, you invest outside of Wisconsin too, don't you?
No, actually we've scaled everything back and we're just in Wisconsin right now, but
never mind then. Okay, well, cool. Thank you again, Jason. And like I said, anybody have any questions, if you watch this at a later time after the live, post them on here. We'll get them to him. He is tagged on here, so everything should go to him as well. And any questions for me too, post it on there. You can always visit our website. All this stuff is posted also on our YouTube, which is Property House Partners. And then any kind of short questions that you guys have, if something came up in here and you're not able to find it and you want to post a question, put it on YouTube, post a question on there, subscribe. And then, like I said, we'll be able to help you out that way too. Check out our before and afters on our Instagram, which is Property House Partners as well. And then our website, propertyhousepartners.com. We'll see you guys next week. It is bonus week. And I have to figure out what we're going to do. So I'm kind of excited about that. And I will be posting something about that. And we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.